I'm gonna take this moment to talk a little bit about things that we do that basically could be improved, like to get along with other people. Sometimes when you're paying attention to what you don't like other people doing to you, hi Belinda, sometimes when you pay attention to others, you learn a lot about yourself. Like some you don't understand like why do I have to deal with all these people? I don't get it. I'm going to tell you right now, this is how we grow as human beings. I am having a bunch of grapes for lunch. I used to love doing like fruit salad, but a friend of mine who is a nutritionist told me that it's better if I just do one fruit. Like I just do a lot of fruit. Everything good, just having some grapes. And I wanted to record this video for YouTube real quick because this is also streaming on YouTube and then it's gonna stay on my YouTube channel. So I've been working all morning in editing, things like that, and now I'm gonna take a lunch break to talk about this a little bit. So sometimes when we pay attention to other people, we realize that there's a lot of bad habits that we engage in. And when we see something that we don't like on somebody else, we have an opportunity to kind of like analyze ourselves in, introspectively. Yes, I got it. So, well, hair in my food. My hair, guys, is nothing like really bad. So, I had an issue the other day because I was helping in a shoot with locations, right? But then they were not specific about what they needed, and they ended up that. But basically, my position in that shoot was no longer needed because the creator of the shoot was doing my job for me. And this happens a lot. Like I have seen this happen a lot where people ask you for help, but they really don't need it. So every time something like that happens to me, I realize that I might be doing that to other people. Hi, Mindy. So it's very important that things that you don't like about other people might be things that you can improve in yourself. For example, asking for help when you really don't need it, it's it's not necessary. I hate when people do it to me when they ask for help and they were able to do what they needed me to do all along. Then why did they ask for help and then they have you running around doing things and then if they don't like what you come up with, they end up doing it themselves with contacts or resources that they already had. So that is a lesson for me and for other people. Don't ask people to help you in something unless you really, really cannot do it yourself. And if you do ask for people's help, let them help you. Like if I'm gonna say that I'm gonna help you with something, let me help you. Let me, you already put something in my head that I needed to do. Um, let me do it because when people come up in a position and they want to help or do something and they don't do it, they don't get the opportunity to do it. It's kind of frustrating for the person on the other side, the person that, you know, is willing to help or is being hired for a position. So it's very important that if you have a team of people and you want to be professional, first of all, you should let people help or do their job Don't try to do their job for them. And that goes for micromanaging as well. Don't try to micromanage people. Try to manage them. Okay? You can be a good manager, but you don't need to do people's jobs to be a good manager. That is one thing that I wanted to say. My hair is everywhere. Another thing that I wanted to say was another thing that I see in people a lot that is a lesson for me as well is that people need a team to get further than they would get if they didn't have the team. So if you need a team, you know that things are a collaborative effort. You know what I mean? And there is nothing wrong with giving the team the credit it deserves. So if I am part of a team, give me the credit that I deserve. It is as frustrating as not being able to do my job or not being able to help you when I said that I would, to not being credited properly. Thank you. I'm glad you like them. There is nothing, you don't lose anything for giving people the credit that they earned. You don't lose anything for mentioning somebody sometimes here and there and for being thankful to them. Besides the pay, like you pay them at the end of the shoot, for example, in my case, that's my job. In your case, it might be something different. But you pay them at the end of their job, they executed the task. And then you basically don't like take ownership of everything that everybody did. You say this is my project, but I wouldn't have done it with these people. Of course, everybody knows this. Everybody that is big knows that they have a team. Even for social media, they have a team. So that is something else that I see other people doing that I think is unfair. My eyes are beautiful, yes. I'm just like broadcasting with sunglasses now. I don't even know why, but a little bit of paranoid. Another thing that I find that people do that bother me, that makes me analyze myself as well. Other people basically find you important in their life. Hi, Maricela. They find you important in their life for out of convenience. Okay, let's say out of convenience, and that's fine. That is a natural response, I guess. Like that's a natural behavior from human beings. We have to, survive. We have to find what is convenient for us, and we're gonna associate with the people that are convenient for us. But when you don't know that person coming in, sometimes you can be like harder than you should, because like sometimes you would minimize the person to what they can do for you, and they're no longer a person. I mean, how can you do that to people? I always think that everybody, it's important, okay? That's the reason they're alive. They're important. They can be shitty people, they can be bad people, they can be good people, they can make mistakes, but at the end of the day, everybody is a human being. That's the first statement right there. And because they are human beings, they are created, I need to respect them. I don't need to agree with them, I don't need to love them or follow them, but I give them that. I give them and owe them respect. Um, I cannot minimize somebody like thinking that people are toys, for example. I cannot minimize somebody to how many followers they have, or how much money they have, or what they can do for me, or if they are not resonating with me or blindly following me, for example, they are not important, or they're not even a person. That is one thing that I find. Sometimes people get too much in their head, and they get snobby, and they realize that they've been doing bad, and they still don't change that habit that they have. And I think that's not right. I try not to do it myself. I always give people an opportunity to express their views, to express themselves. And I listen and respect what people have to say, even if they don't agree with me. I look a little Asian, yes. I look a little Asian. Everyone has their worth. And it might be one thing in their lifetime that they're alive for. You don't know what it is. There are people that achieve goals every day, and that's wonderful. But there are people that are here for one purpose, and you don't know when that purpose is due. It can be when they're 50, it can be when they're 30, it can already has passed, and now they're just enjoying life because they already did what they needed to do. No, another thing that people, I don't know if social media is revealing people a little better for me to analyze them. I love analyzing people. Another thing that I am finding very annoying on people, high plant style. Another thing that I'm finding very annoying on people that is actually helping me, keep myself in check, because you need to keep yourself in check. Another thing that I'm finding annoying is that they are so focused on the goal that they forget about the journey. And I see this so much that it's sickening. It's sickening how people are not enjoying their path towards wherever they're going, whether if they're going to their death, whether if they're going to their next achievement, or wherever they're going, people are not enjoying the path, and it's showing. So that is a lesson for me and for anyone of you that is paying attention, that people need to learn how to understand that every day, every single day, is a universal lifetime. I don't know why I call it that, but I call it that. Every day is your entire life in one day. So that day you need to live like if that was your life. Because to be honest with you, you cannot grab time and stop it, and or hold time. You can only um have what you have right now, and you need to learn how to appreciate it, how to cherish it, how to enjoy it, and you cannot any longer take things for granted like people are doing all the time. No, don't take things for granted. Focus in the path that you're walking. Don't focus in the goals so much. Goals are important, don't get me wrong. Goals are important. They keep you in check, they keep you going, but the path is as important. And another thing that derives from that is basically that people don't have respect for process. Like, how do you not have respect for the process if the process is what gets you where you're going? And if you're proud right now of who you are, you should have been proud of every single step that brought you here. Like every single step that was part of your process, And you should have known that your process was not instant. Instant gratification is something that I also see a lot through social media, analyzing people. And it's not right. Thank you so much for believing I'm perfect. I think we're all perfect. I think we're just different. Um, your perfection doesn't need to accommodate my likings, you know, because if we understood that we're all a piece of a bigger puzzle, we would understand why we are so different so we can all have a place in the puzzle. You know how all those puzzles have different paintings, they have different shapes because they are part of the puzzle. We complement each other, which is why I might be hating on somebody, but I don't like genuinely hate on them because I know that they're here for a reason. And I know that they're gonna be complimentative, if that is a word. They're gonna be complimenting to me, to something that I'm lacking of. Another thing that I see happening a lot that I particularly don't agree with, it's basically let me turn this light off or on. Maybe that will help. Yep, it helps. Another thing that I see happening a lot, and thank you, Maricela. Thank you so much for the likes. Another thing that I see happening a lot, that I don't recommend you to do. Maybe you see it happening, and you basically say, you know what? I am not gonna be doing that. People make promises, but promises are amazing. I think promises are so good and so important. You can make commitment. All right, commitment and promises can be slightly different. You cannot be so delusional to think that you know what is going to happen tomorrow. You cannot. You don't know. You can estimate what's going to happen tomorrow. You can think, well, this is the plan. You can plan, but you cannot literally say, like, admit that you know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month or in the next, the rest of the year. So, what I have learned from that is that I have made my promises to people very vaguely. I have learned how to not make promises to people anymore. Oh, I hope that, we work together. I hope that we really do. Okay, I can schedule a meeting. It's in my calendar. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to take place, but I can put it in my calendar and we can, make it a priority to meet. But at the same time, I cannot make any promises. A lot of people, for example, hit me up, expect expert and call and cancel. Hi, Jonas, how are you? A lot of people um, contact me on Twitter and LinkedIn. I hope that we can work someday together. And it's amazing, and it really has a place in my heart. But I particularly already have like a plan for what I'm doing for the next 6 months. So 2 years ago, perfect, girl. I am gonna be right here. So you don't need to be looking at this face. You just need to listen. Exactly. Because you know what? I do that a lot. I put YouNow in the background or on YouTube. So I appreciate the YouTubers that talk and they don't need me to look at the video, so I can go on with my day. Enjoy your meal. Um, so what I was saying was that a lot of people contact me and they say, I hope we work together. And I used to feel a little pressure, and I used to want to work with everybody that would approach me and say, I want to work with you, I want to partner with you, I have this project, or I have these investors. But what I have learned, if this is my particular experience, it might work for you. I have learned to basically just be very vague about the whole thing. Like, yeah, I hope it happens. Because if it needs to happen, it will happen. If sometimes, if that person really wants to work with you, they're going to make it a priority to work with you. If you really want to work with them, you're going to make it a priority. But if it's not the case right now because you're busy or they're busy or whatever, you just keep it vague. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't need to feel pressure that all the opportunities that are brought to you need to be reviewed by you or even taken upon. So learn how to be very vague about promises for the future. That is one thing that I have learned. I see a lot of people making promises, and I don't like that particularly because they set themselves for failure. When you make a lot of promises, now you have some pressure that you might not be able to handle, because there will be a time in your life where you are going to have more offers. You're going to be like demanded a lot, and you physically cannot handle it unless you have a team, several teams actually. So another thing that I have learned to keep in check for myself when I watch others from things that I don't like is that people think that you owe them something. You know how I said that you don't owe anybody anything? It works the other way around as well. People don't owe you anything either. There is this growing trend, I would say. It's a growing trend. So there is this growing trend where there are people out there that feel so entitled that they feel like people owe them something. And that is not true. Nobody owes you anything, and you don't owe anybody anything unless you have entered an agreement for work or an agreement for marriage, or you were born into a family, for example. Things like that. But other than that, no. And in social media, no. You don't owe anybody anything, and people do not owe you anything either. So it is important that we keep it in check that we cannot expect people to do anything for us. We shouldn't expect people to do anything for us. We should just expect very little from people because people are busy. People are living their life. They shouldn't sit here and live your life as well. That is something that I have learned so much. It's such a great, like lesson for me, where I understand that we're all individuals living our own lives. So people don't owe me anything, and I don't owe anybody anything. I owe myself respect. I owe myself happiness. I owe myself due diligence to make sure that I live a great life. That's another thing that I want to talk about, that I see a lot of people I particularly, okay, the cat is opening all the all the doors. I see a lot of people basically kind of like kind of like putting themselves last. So I guess it makes them feel like they're good people. It makes them feel a little bit like a martyr or something. But I think that you shouldn't do that. Hi, Katie. Hi, Nufa Khan. You shouldn't put yourself last. For some reason, we put everyone first and then their opinions, their validations, their approvals, and we forget about what we think about ourselves. We forget about how we like what we're doing, how we're enjoying ourselves. So it's very important what I have learned in the in my last few years is that who like nobody needs to like what you're doing. You need to like what you're doing. And whatever you do in life, like if you're doing something to change life, whatever you're doing in life, if it's changing your life, that's enough. You're like, you might be like, oh, I basically, um, I want to change even one person's life with this. Even if you like, especially if you're a YouTuber, you're gonna say, I wanna change people's lives with what I'm doing. I wanna influence people, and you don't even realize that you're changing your life through doing that. So if you're changing your life through doing what you're doing, that is that is plenty right there. It's amazing if you could reach a couple thousand people, a couple million people, but at the same time, it's amazing that you are even reaching your own life. So I see a lot of people being like so overly, I would say overly ambitious about the fact that they need to change people's lives to think that they're doing something right. Since when other people's validation for what you do was more important than your own validation? If you have developed a critical thinking, if you have developed your critical thinking, and you have developed um, good observative, good observative um, skills. Let's call it observative skills. Is that the right word though? I'm gonna say this. If you have developed your observation and you have developed your critical thinking, you should be able to understand that you the fact that you are like changing your own life is plenty right there. Because even when you're gone, whatever it is that you do will continue to its natural course, and it will continue to be part of the ripple or the butterfly effect that will affect life ahead of you. Which is why small little things as just choosing what you're eating at any given time can be so important. It can be such a little thing, but at the same time, it can be so important. Not important because it affects you only, but important because it's going to impact the future. I am really enjoying this mono meal. Another thing that I have seen people doing that I don't like particularly, that has been a lesson for me, is that people will demonize somebody over flaws. Are you serious? Did you not get the memo that everybody is super, highly flawed? Everyone, including yourself, is flawed. So, for you to sit there and demonize a person because of a mistake or a flaw that they have, it's ridiculous. Exactly, Katie. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can say, you know what? From all the flaws in the world that I can deal with, I cannot deal with that one. So I will stay away from that person. And it is a beauty mark. Because the definition of flaw can be like, I mean, I know it's objective, but it can also be very subjective. Because, hey man, that girl is jealous, or that guy is super jealous. So maybe there's a woman out there, or a man, that will enjoy that jealousy. So, it's again different parts of the puzzle with different shapes and different painting on them so they can all be part of the bigger picture. Um, I that is one thing that has annoyed me on social media, on the YouTube scene, on the YouNow scene. People taking one little thing that somebody did, stretching it and making it super terrible and big, and then going after the other person like they are prosecutors or they're judges, self proclaimed judges, of course, self proclaimed prosecutors. So if it's not like something illegal, leave them alone. If it's illegal, definitely go after them. Better to go after them with the law in your hand more than anything. But if it's illegal, you know what to do. If it's not illegal, you can talk about it, but don't make it your priority. You have other things to talk about. Another thing that I see a lot on social media that people are doing is basically like they are like, you know how sometimes people put themselves last? Well, there are a group of people that put themselves first. That's fine. You should put yourself first. You are the hero in your story. You are the most important person in your trajectory, okay, in your life. But you should not be the most important person to somebody else's trajectory, to somebody else's life. Don't expect that people should be living their life because you know what? They have a life of themselves that they want to live. Is that unfair? Should that be like so shameful that I want to live my life and I don't want to no longer want to live yours? Sometimes you have a friend, they have an issue and they want to talk about it. And they should. They're your friends. But there are these friends that just want to talk about themselves. That is not a friendship. That is not a friendship. So, what is that for me? That is a lesson. That is a lesson for me that I shouldn't do that to people. I always want to do to others what I want to have done to me. And I always, when I interact with people in my daily life, I always want to create a partnership, a symbiotic relationship. I want to make sure that that person get something out of it, that they get some some opportunity to grow out of the relationship that we're building. You know what I mean? Like, you need to learn to not be that friend to others, and you need to learn how to identify who those friends are in your life, so you start ignoring them in a healthy way. You don't stop being friends with them, but you ignore them to the point where they are no longer invading your life, and they're no longer taking away your opportunity to live your life. I think that there are these people in the world that have this messiah complex, and that think that their problems or their issues or their victories are more important than anybody else. You see these friends a lot on Facebook. These friends that barely interact with your Facebook posts. But as soon as they have something to share, hi Mari, as soon as they have something to share or they have a victory or something to celebrate, they are tagging everybody. These people are basically, they're celebrating themselves through everybody's life. That is cool. You should celebrate your victories and talk about your bad moments with your friends, but you shouldn't put yourself above everybody else. And that is something that we need to keep in check so much. Like, it's important to keep it in check. So I invite you all to do it. This video is gonna be on YouTube. And I don't know if I'm gonna write a summary about it, but you can rewatch it. If you wanna take notes, or if watching it was enough, that's good. Sometimes videos like this, like when somebody's sharing an experience, I like going back to them and taking some notes so I can keep them fresh in my head. Also, if anybody in the audience wants to follow me on Instagram, just send me like a message, like a private message on Instagram, and tell me that you're from YouNow, and I will follow you right back. I'm still eating some grapes for lunch. It will take me a while, but I will get through this bag. See you guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you for participating in the chat. Oh, I'm having grapes as my lunch. Bye.